Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Chapter 12, Yusuf alayhi salam. Last time we spoke about Yusuf alayhi salam and when he said to Allah, Rabbi asijnu ahabba ilayya mimma yadunani ilay. Oh Allah, prison is more beloved to me than what they call me towards. Thus we found Yusuf alayhi salam was placed in prison. The story continues now where two new inmates enter and they see Yusuf alayhi salam and they go to him and they said, verily we have dreams that we want you to interpret. So one of them said, I saw myself pressing wine. And the other one said, I saw myself carrying bread on my head and the birds were eating from it. So tell us the meaning of these dreams, because rarely we see you among the righteous. Yusuf alayhi salam, he does not give them the information they want straight away. Rather, he gives them dawah first. He invites them to the hut. So Yusuf alayhi salam said, O my two companions of the prison, arbaba mutafarrikun khayrum amin Allahi al-wahid al-qahar. Is many gods better than the one God, the sustainer? Then he continued, he said, Inil hukmu illa lillah. The authority is only for Allah Azza wa Jal. Amara Allah ta'budu illa iyahu. And he only commanded us that we worship him. So this was the dawah of Yusuf alayhi salam. And then he gave him the meaning of their dreams. So the one that was pressing wine, he said, one day you will be serving the king and you will be free soon. And to the other one he said, verily you will be crucified and the birds will be eating from your head. And that is the matter that he asked me about, in truth. So very soon thereafter, the man that saw the dream of pressing wine, he was freed. So Yusuf alayhi salam went to him and said, remember me and mention me to your Lord, your master, when you're freed. But he said that this man he forgot. Shaitan caused him to forget. And Yusuf alayhi salam was in prison for another 7 years. And thus he stayed like this until one day, and this is 7 years of time, the king, he had a dream. And then in the dream, the king of Egypt, he saw 7 lean cows. They were devouring 7 plump cows. And he saw 7 green corns and he saw 7 withered corns. So he asked his court, what is the meaning of this dream? All of them said, it is confused. It's confusion for us. We don't understand the meaning of this dream. So the man that was freed, he remembered Yusuf alayhi salam. He said, let me go to a man who is trustworthy. So he went to Yusuf alayhi salam and he relayed the dream. So Yusuf alayhi salam explained that the dream meant that the kingdom would have 7 years of good harvest and then 7 years of drought. So they should prepare for this. So this information was relayed back to the king, whereupon the king said, bring him to me, bring Yusuf alayhi salam to me. So at this time, Yusuf alayhi salam took the opportunity and said, no, I'm going to stay here until the king asked what happened to those women who cut their hand. So the king asked for the women to come. And all of them said, verily, all we know is good about Yusuf alayhi salam. And even the wife of the Aziz, she said, Innahu laminas sadiqeen. Verily, he is from among those that speak the truth. Thus, Yusuf alayhi salam came out of prison. He was proven to be innocent. So he became from a slave boy to a prisoner to now the king said, be among those that are close to me. And he became a minister. In fact, he was given one of the biggest jobs, which was to look after the storehouses. And thus Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says again, وَكَذَلِكَ كَنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Verily, we established him in this land. Subhanallah. So as the years passed, Yusuf alayhi salam's authority was established, even to the point people called him the Malik, the king. And indeed, the kingdom had 7 good years of harvest, and then the drought appeared. And it's during this period that his brothers came to Egypt seeking provision, and they were in his presence in the court. Yusuf alayhi salam recognized them, but they did not recognize him. So as he was giving them the provision, he said to them, next time you come seeking provision, bring your brother. They said, verily we'll try, we'll ask our father. And as they were leaving, Yusuf alayhi salam put back the money that they gave. When they returned back to Yaqub alayhi salam, they said, verily the king was a good man. He's given us provision, but he will give us no more provision unless we take Benjamin, our youngest brother. Yaqub alayhi salam was hesitant. Why? Because of what had happened previously with Yusuf alayhi salam. So he said, I will give on the condition that you swear to look after him. Thus Benjamin went to Egypt with his brothers. No sooner was he in the presence of Yusuf alayhi salam, he took him to one side and he said, verily, I am Yusuf. And he said, do not grieve over what our brothers used to do to us in the past. And this time, as he gave the provision, he made sure that his golden cup was put in the bag of Benjamin. And as they were leaving, somebody cried out in the court, rarely the cup of the king is missing. So the people searched the provisions of those leaving the court, and among them they found the golden cup in the bag of Benjamin. So the brothers were shocked. So they said to Yusuf alayhi salam, really, this is not one of our plots. It's not something that we do. But Yusuf alayhi salam said, well, we found it in the bag of Benjamin. So how should we rule? So the brothers turned back and said, according to your kingdom. So Yusuf alayhi salam said, verily, we take the one that steals as a slave. They said, take anyone other than him. He is dear to our father. Take one of us. Yusuf alayhi salam said, verily, we have to take the wrongdoer. This is the one we have to take. So look how they responded. The brother said, verily, if Benjamin stole, then his brother Yusuf, meaning the brother Yusuf, stole as well. So they still spoke ill of Yusuf alayhi salam after all those years. So Benjamin was kept. So they returned back to Yaqub alayhi salam. And they said, verily, that Benjamin was kept, though we never saw him steal. And he said at this time that Yaqub alayhi salam cried so much. And he remembered Yusuf alayhi salam that he went blind. And the brothers were again grieved now that the fact that Yaqub alayhi salam showed favor. They said, will you never forget Yusuf alayhi salam? To which Yaqub alayhi salam said, go back to Egypt. Go and find Yusuf alayhi salam. Go and find Benjamin. So they returned. So this is the third occasion they're returning back to Yusuf alayhi salam. And on this occasion, Yusuf alayhi salam says to them, do you remember what you did to Yusuf and his brother, and when you were amongst those that were ignorant, al-jahilun? The brothers realized who they were speaking to now. They said, A'innaka la'anta Yusuf? Are you Yusuf? To which Yusuf alayhi salam said, yes, Ana Yusuf, wa hadha akhi, and this is my brother. So he brought up Benjamin. And he said, Qad manna Allah alayna. Verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He favored us. And the brothers accepted. They said, verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored you. To which then Yusuf alayhi salam said, on this day, there is no grievance. There will be no harm upon you. Allah, I seek Allah to forgive you. Subhanallah. And then he said to them, go back, take my shirt this time. Go back and take it to our father. And when he wipes it on his face, he will see again. Subhanallah. So they went back and they said, Yusuf alayhi salam said to them, but this time make sure you bring him with you. Bring him and bring my mother as well. Subhanallah. So the brothers went back and they brought their parents. And as they were entering Egypt, Yusuf alayhi salam said, Udkhulu Misra, Insha'Allah aminin. Enter Egypt in peace. No harm would come of you. And then he took them and he sat on the throne. And as they were up there, they prostrated to him. To which Yusuf alayhi salam said, see, father, this is the dream that I told you as a child. And Allah has caused it to become true. And since then, I was sold as a slave and then put in prison. And my brothers, they plotted against me because that was the enmity that Satan caused. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has caused the dream to come true. And look at me now, subhanAllah. So what are the lessons that we could take from this second portion of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? Number one, that it is the prophets that are tested the most because of their iman. Number two, that when we get the opportunity to give da'wah, we should invite people to the haqq. Number three, it is important for us to seek forgiveness and also to forgive others. And number four, to be aware that Allah Azza wa Jal knows of our situation and that He manages our affair. I pray Allah grants us the understanding from the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.